What's going on, everybody? This is James Grandmaster Facts Voice, and you're here for another Facts Project review. Today, we're going to be covering Dork, issue 5. Now, note, this is the end of this particular arc, and the last time that we left our heroes in issue 4, Dork, the Shield, as well as the Headless Chicken, they were almost on this Wizard of Oz quest to basically fix things about themselves and find out things about themselves. With the possible reuniting of the Headless Chicken with its body, the soul that's basically trapped into the shield basically being released from the shield, and Dork learning more about his parentage that he just does not know. So when we come into the town of Boarsmere, we see Dork basically running butt-ass naked into the house of a fortune teller. And this fortune teller's name is Madam Morrigan. Now, any fortune teller, when you run up in their place of business, is more than likely just going to trying to sell you the joy of telling your fortune for a modest coin. And Dork, because he's butt ass, just happens to still have coins on him. So he wants to learn more about his past, but Madam Morrigan takes, for instance, basically the happenings that brought him to her domain. And that seems to be the fact that, he was found in the thermal pools in Boarsmere, and the Duke of Boarsmere was pretty much wanting to uphold the customs that they're used to and wanted to bathe in those thermal pools themselves. And he revealed to Dork that the thermal pools are actually there because he captured a caldera, which is basically an ancient dragon that is the only thing that's keeping these pools warm, almost like like a thermal spa, right? And pretty much at that point you come to figure out the fact that there's this like funny little quip to where Dork wants to skip ahead and kind of get to the juicy stuff, but Madam Morrigan interrupts and says, what is it with you kids these days? Just show the violence, don't set up the scene, and skip to the end. So that's kind of related to a lot of things in comic books lately, especially a lot of things that are based around comic book social media. They want things to get extremely to the point. That's probably why we see a lot of these limited issues and not enough continuous mainline continuity to where they're running for maybe around 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 issues, because there is no initial setup. There is no basic substance to point to a reveal within the story. So I thought that point was very interesting, because that's a common argument in comic books. Most people like the dialogue and the things that basically set up the scene and set up the cliffhangers, but yet you have a lot of people that are just saying, hey, just reveal this, give me the spoilers for this, so on and so forth, get to the end and just give me everything that I have so I can post it up for content. Now back to the story. So what happens is, obviously from issue 4, Dork was like, I want to be more of a hero. So when he finds out that the caldera is locked underneath these thermal pools and is basically being put there as a temperature furnace for these thermal pools, he figures it's his rightful duty to release him. So he ties up the Duke, knocks out a couple guards, and goes to release the caldera. Once again, ancient dragon. So dragon gets released, dragon causes hell all over Boarsmere. As a matter of fact, because the Duke is tied up to a rock, caldera aims down, blows fire straight onto his body, and Dork is like, I really wanted to try and save you, but I didn't really have enough time, and that just pretty much ends that. So the bigger thing is Madam Morrigan. The main reason that he came to this town was due to the fact that he wanted to know more about himself. So he's asking about his past. Where did I come from? The things that we've been wanting to know for so far. But obviously, Dork's been going through so many ordeals lately. It's been just like this one thing after another. Remember, he was going through a little bit of a hardship as far as like a depression because of the fact that so much violence was happening around him. He had destroyed the champion of the light realm, the warden of the light realm. And this was basically the discovery that, you know, they could end all life by giving this potion from the Bone Witch. This is the reason he wanted to visit the Bone Witch anyway. He figured that Gloinspear from issue 3 got this particular type of potion from the Bone Witch, and this is probably like the only person with any type of substance that could possibly tell me exactly who I am. So he starts to go through these cards with this fortune teller, and she gets to pick 3 cards. One first is the Death Incarnate. He comes to find out that he was born to a berserker, a beast of pure violence, something that doesn't leave any survivors in its path. And you come to find out, of course, Dork is part berserker. Now, this is pretty much the dark side, the orcs. There's also the fact that you come to find out that he was born on a battlefield, scarred by war and dread. And pretty much outside of that fact, you also understand that he is not alone in this, that there's somebody out there watching him, a soul that is continually watching him. My first thought was that it was the shield. The soul that is basically trapped inside the shield is basically built with an eye. The eye is the all-seeing shield that's basically following him this entire time. But the shield is also extremely violent. So that also made me think it was almost like a 2-in-1 combo, to where you were finding out that maybe his father or whatever it is, that berserker that's in his mind, that's coming up on those pages in issue 5, could be what's trapped inside of that shield. It is a family member, or better yet, the family that he feels that he deserves. That soul is trapped in that shield. If you remember from issue 4, it was the shield that gave him the comfort that he needed throughout, like, all the things that he was going through, that little bit of sadness that was pretty much happening there. So the last card comes up and all this stuff starts to happen, you know, like almost like the card is starting to float on its own. Madam Morrigan is incensed because she can't necessarily grasp it to put it down, but when she finally gets her hands on it, and it takes a little bit of time, and pulls it down to her face, she was like, why did we get this card? I'm thinking to myself, I thought she was pulling all these cards for him, but this one was basically meant for the both of them. And it is the image of Gloinspear, like almost in a shadowy figure on this card. And she asked what happened to her champion, to where Dork in issue 3, if you remember, threw him off of a cliff with the potion that was given to him to destroy Dork, therefore ending his life. And it turns out that Madam Morrigan reveals that that is her husband. So also, it's like, okay, you're understanding that Gloinspear was given this potion by the Bone Witch. He revealed that. She starts to reveal herself and looks completely different from when he first stepped into this chamber. And she is the Bone Witch, to where she starts to reveal things. She was not only the husband, the wife to Gloinspear. She was the one that gave the shield to Dork. She has known him since he was a baby. She is completely understanding of the prophecy. And now Chicken walks in and was like, yo, we can come back later. It comes in with the shield. We can come back later at some point in time. But also, she takes all 3 of them hostage. Now, no, I said that this is the end of this first arc. So Dork Volume 1 is now on sale as a complete volume, all 5 issues. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Obviously, with a lot of the second, third printings that have basically been out there, it's going to be a hot commodity. Right now, I saw the volume that was basically just released, and it's pretty much like it was like a $10 volume. So good on Image for basically like putting it out there, because I know a lot of volumes that that'll go maybe around like 6 to 8 issues in one volume, and they might go for about like $15 to $17. So the second arc of this, not sure when exactly it starts, if it starts next month or anything like that, but the volumes are now on sale. The trade paperbacks for the first volume of Dork are now on sale right now. And when we get to that cliffhanger to where we understand the Bone Witch may have devised this whole plan from jump, and the capturing of Dork, the chicken, and the shield to kind of like end this prophecy. But the thing is, if she gave Dork the shield, what relevance does she have to Dork's life? But that's kind of like where we ended. And now I'm very interested as to where the second arc's going to begin. Brett Bean has done amazing work on this particular book. If you haven't heard the news about this book when it was released, it sold like crazy. So I'm going to be figuring out for myself that the first volume is probably going to sell out as well. But I will look forward to continuing this when we get to the second arc and the possibility of issue 6 dropping in the near future. If it happens sooner than later, that's great. But we will see you guys next time on the channel.